mean, that's wrong, man. I mean, that's just like torturing someone. Yeah, I mean, going in there and hurting someone is just not fair on Davis.
Jake Paul, Tank Davis.
I got Tank by Burger.
Size don't matter?
Hell no.
And people, it's funny how now they're saying size matters, Jake is big, when for so long it's been Tank would kill Jake Paul. Now you get to see if that's real.
Experts in boxing think Gervonta Davis will beat Jake Paul. They say Davis's experience and skills give him a clear advantage, and they expect him to control the fight. Paulie Malignaggi pointed out that even though Jake is bigger, Davis's experience and talent are far stronger. He stressed that Davis has had an amazing career, full of success, and has made a big impact on boxing. Malignaggi also reminded fans not to forget Davis's legacy, as his accomplishments still set the standard in the sport today.
I think Davis is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as where his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you, you can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinching? You ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen, there's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch at lightweight. Can he drop a heavyweight? There's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks
the answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah, but if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion in multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and Chris Aldry, the champ, even you, Jimmy, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you. You're probably going down if you're a small guy, if he hits you clean. So we know the risk, but how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing, and I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot that he still hasn't earned, mind you?
Nisa Badarian, co-founder of Most Valuable Promotions and a key part of Jake Paul's boxing career, has spoken out strongly before the official fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. Nakasa says Jake Paul's size won't matter when he faces a fighter like Davis. She explained that this fight wasn't a sudden choice but has been planned since Jake's fight with Canelo Alvarez fell through. This shows how both fighters' teams have been working behind the scenes, waiting for the perfect moment to create a fight that combines excitement and lasting impact. While some critics think Jake's size might be too much for a smaller fighter, Nakasa disagrees. She believes skill, speed, and power are more important than size, and Davis has all three at the highest level.
I got to ask you about the elephant in the room. What weight, Nikisa? What weight could they possibly be fighting at? The news broke Jake and Tank are going to happen November 14th.
Whatever weight they want, man, they're talking about it, and whatever it is, there's going to be a definitive outcome. People can talk about pro, exhibition. We're going to make sure this is as real as it's real.
Why was it, just out of curiosity, why is it not a professional bout and why is it an exhibition? Because I'm sure Jake would have taken the professional bout.
Nothing's been communicated as yet in terms of what it is, right? Similar to, if you remember, with Paul Tyson, when we announced it, we didn't have the weight, we didn't have the rules, particularly in terms of the number of rounds, the minutes, the gloves. It's going to be the same thing here.
Gotcha. Can you just offer us any insight as to how these negotiations went? And the reason I ask is because I remember back in March, I was at Tank's fight, and after his fight in his press conference, he was asked, next opponent. He said, well, my next opponent might have been in my locker room tonight. And people asked him, was it Jake? He made reference, he made allusion to. Has this been an ongoing thing? And has it ever, been at a point where it wasn't gonna happen and came back, or was this always the plan?
Always been the plan for Jake to fight Tank once Canelo didn't happen. And to Tank's credit, he's a real bad dude, and he's been calling out Jake for 3 years. And people, it's funny how now they're saying size matters, Jake is big, when for so long it's been Tank would kill Jake Paul. Now you get to see if that's real. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Gotcha. Knockout?
One of them.
The elephant in the room. elephant in the... What do you know about how this came to be? And then if you can, do you have any idea on what the weight is going to be between Jake Paul and Tank Davis, which was just announced?
Well, considering that I'm one of the guys on the team, you know, we always like to allow everyone in front to be able to release the information as they please.
Veteran trainer Jeff Mayweather sees things differently from Nakasa and others by backing Jake Paul. He believes Jake has the upper hand at this weight. Paul has mostly fought as a cruiserweight, bringing more natural size, power, and reach to the ring. Meanwhile, Gervonta Davis is moving up a lot to take this fight, which makes people wonder how well his body will adjust. Jeff's view highlights a key debate among experts. While Davis is known as one of the most skilled and explosive fighters, there's still the question of how the size difference will play out.
That weight class is for a reason. And I mean, even as good as Tank is.
But it'd be similar to Logan and Floyd, right, if it's an exhibition?
Nah,
well, I mean, the weight differences.
The weight difference is way more. Jake is over 200 pounds.
Logan was around 200 pounds.
Yeah,
who wins a fight, man? We ain't talking. Who wins if they have it? Come on now, answer the question.
I mean, to be honest, I would think Jake know how to fight a little bit. I think he should win. He beating the man that's 135 pounds. He should be able to win.
Gervonta Davis added more excitement to the fight by sharing the official promo video on Instagram. Many fans expected him to face Lamont Roach again, thinking that would be the best way to build his legacy. But Davis chose to focus on the big moment of fighting Jake Paul on a huge global stage. By posting the video, he showed that boxing isn't just about legacy fights, it's also about entertainment, reaching new fans, and growing the sport. While some fans wanted the Lamont rematch, Davis made it clear he isn't bothered by the criticism. He sees Jake Paul as a real challenge because the fight will grab worldwide attention and become one of the biggest events of the year.
They're trying to fight they were trying or still trying to find a common medium, which is 175, so the fight can officially be sanctioned as a real boxing match. But there's no boxing commission that will sanction it because the weight is just too far apart. And Jake Paul has proven to be a true boxer now, okay? So it's considered an exhibition, which what I'm being told is going to be 10 2-minute rounds. But they wanted Jake Paul to make 175 so this can be a real boxing match and count against their record and box rep. But the fans are demanding to see him fight Lamont Roach. As I told you guys, Tank told you that he wasn't fighting Lamont Roach in the rematch. He had other plans, which is Jake Paul. He told you that in the post-fight press conference after the Lamont Roach fight, right? So with that said, that fell through at the time, and he revisited and entertained the idea of fighting Lamont Roach in the rematch. But he never signed the contract. They were supposed to fight June 21st. He never signed the contract. Then they were supposed to fight August 16th. He never signed the contract. And then he had the arrest. He had to get bailed out, so on and so forth. With that said, now he's broke his silence. He resurfaced on social media because he went ghost on social media. And he put up this promo, and the fans are responding in a negative way. And he's responding in a negative way. He's responding right back with the same energy. And he's telling the fans, because the fans are saying, hey, the money that you reportedly making, which is being said that he's going to make $40 million for this fight, according to multiple sources and Eddie Hearn and a few other people. He's supposed to make guaranteed purse of $40 million.
Matchroom's Frank Smith shared that Gervonta Davis was first set to have a rematch with Lamont Roach, a fight many saw as key to building his legacy. But when the opportunity to fight Jake Paul came up, everything changed. Smith explained that the money and worldwide attention linked to Paul were too big to pass up. This shows how boxing today is a mix of sport and business. For Davis, choosing Paul isn't just about money, it's a way to reach fans all over the world, beyond regular boxing fans. While Smith didn't criticize the choice, he pointed out how priorities in boxing have shifted. Legacy fights often take a back seat to high-profile events that bring huge pay-per-view numbers. For Davis, this fight is about proving his skills and connecting with a much bigger audience.
fights, and let's say you take money out of the equation, which is obviously the main factor here, but like he's in a division where he's got killers all in his division. You know, Shakur, Haney, who's 147. You know, you look at Tio, for example, Keyshawn, and then you choose to fight someone like Paul. Surely that's a concern when you do look at it like that.
Yeah, but again, it's the world we're in. If you can get a huge amount of money to fight someone who's never boxed really before, you're going to do it. You know, Floyd Mayweather boxed Logan Paul with a huge weight disparity.
He was done by then. He was done. Like, this is an active world champion.
But it's the world we're in.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. You know, when it comes down to it. It's just like Conor McGregor fighting Floyd Mayweather. Two completely different sports. Was the biggest pay-per-view in recent times, wasn't it? Maybe if ever.
Those are like different comparisons, though, if you think about it. Do you not like?
Yeah, but the sport's in a wild place, isn't it? That's like, I'm just like the reality of where we are, you know. And I can't really say much when we're talking about Jake Paul fighting Anthony Joshua at the same time.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think Tank should get stripped of his title?
Yeah, I think anyone who, just in general, doesn't defend their title to do something else should get stripped, because it shouldn't hold the belts up. You know, in any, like, I think that should be the reality in anything. You know, if you're not going to defend your belts, or you're not defending, sometimes there's the rules, obviously, if you fight for a belt at a higher weight, you can retain the belt until there. But if you're not, don't have intention of defending the belts, you shouldn't hold the belts up. People should get the opportunity to fight for them.
What happened with the failed negotiations between AJ and Jake Paul?
I think anything's still possible. That was always discussed for next year. You know, this fight's November, early part of next year. AJ's in a great place, because if anyone in the heavyweight division wants to make huge money, Anthony Joshua is the man they have to get in there with, you know.
An analyst responded to the criticism aimed at Gervonta Davis for choosing to fight Jake Paul. He said fans often look for excuses to criticize fighters instead of respecting their hard work. Davis has spent years building his reputation with discipline, skill, and impressive knockouts. If he now wants to earn big money with a high-profile fight, there's nothing wrong with that. This view shows frustration in the boxing world, where many dedicated fighters don't get the same recognition as crossover stars like Jake Paul, who are often seen as skipping the usual path. By taking on Paul, Davis is not only securing his biggest payday, but also proving he can shine under the biggest spotlight.
Casual, but what about the hardcore boxing fans? Won't we stand up and put some value on fighters that dare to be great, that respect the sport of boxing and not just the business of boxing? Ryan Garcia never been a champion. Shout out to Ryan Garcia, but Ryan Garcia never been a champion. Making more money than these guys, Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, right? Ryan Garcia, the less accomplished fighter, was just main eventing in their last fight. Devin Haney was the co-main event, and Teofimo Lopez was playing third fiddle. Where was the hardcore boxing fans' dollars? Where was the hardcore boxing fans' appreciation? Don't blame that on Turkey. Don't blame that on the promoters. The promoters are businessmen. And it seems like the promoters already know that the hardcore boxing fans don't flip the bill. Don't get mad at Gervonta Davis for chasing the money, because he understood that in the sport of boxing, it's not enough to just go for the gusto. It's not lucrative to be the best, to fight the best and be the best. At the end of the day, they prize fighters as well. So the hardcore boxing fans is at fault. The business handlers, you know, in business, you go for your target audience. So they're going for the casuals. Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis make the most money and do the less.
Some fans say Gervonta Davis is avoiding top fighters like Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez to chase a big payday with Jake Paul. These criticisms are common on social media, but many think they're unfair. Davis has shown time and again that he's a top fighter, beating champions and staying undefeated. Claiming he's dodging opponents ignores everything he's achieved. Picking Jake Paul doesn't take away from Davis's legacy. Instead, it shows how today's boxing offers different paths, both traditional fights and crossover events.
Don't ever fight no Shakur Stevenson, no Keyshawn Davis, no Teofimo Lopez, none of them dudes. You know what I'm talking about? We gotta think and look at Tank Davis's whole career. He done made some bread, but at the end of the day, all that bread that he made, when it's all said and done, he ain't gonna get no respect from his peers, because we gonna look down his resume and we gonna be like, He was trash. He was some trash. He was some trash. He was all right, but he was never like that. He was okay. He was some trash. He was some trash. He ain't did nothing. Hey, that's just what it's gonna be at the end of the day. Get mad, a moment of silence, all of the Gervonta Tank Davis meat bushes.
Jake Paul, known for making bold claims, is already thinking past Gervonta Davis and has announced he wants to fight Anthony Joshua next. This news quickly stirred reactions in boxing circles, with some mocking the idea and others impressed. Considering Joshua's top-level record and much larger size, many experts say Paul's plan is unlikely. Still, Paul's ambition is clear. He keeps going after big-name opponents to speed up his acceptance in the sport. Whether it's driven by his competitive spirit, promotional goals, or a desire for legacy, Paul's challenges keep him in the spotlight and force top champions to take notice. His daring choices show he's ready to take risks to gain respect and keep the public talking worldwide.
Gonna go on and slay Goliath, referring to Anthony Joshua.
Yeah. And
he's gonna go and fight a 140er and then move up 135er and then move up and fight a heavyweight.
So the lowest he's been, I went through all the fights. For his first two fights, his first two pro fights, he was 175. Now this is all the way back in 2020 against Nate Robinson. Since then, the lowest he's been, as you said, was like the 185 around the Nate Diaz fight, and also for Tommy Fury. I wonder if Jake can get down to that weight anymore. But regardless of Jake's weight, I can't fathom how Tank Davis would be anywhere in the realm of what he would be. Like, it just, he won't even be in earshot of what Jake Paul is going to be.
And for people, like you just mentioned, Nate Robinson, if you're thinking Nate Robinson, oh, he might be around Tank Davis's size. Nah, he was an NBA player. He's 4 inches taller than Tank Davis.
Yeah.
He is not that small. He is around Ryan Garcia's height.
The visual on this is going to be absolutely comical.
Comical, dude. And then on top of all this, Lamont Roach Jr. also jumping on Twitter and saying, told y'all, LOL, duck, duck, duck. That is in reference. This is Gervonta Davis's last opponent in a fight that ended in a draw that many people found to be very controversial.
Show Eyes, the adult, explained the timeline behind this fight, saying it wasn't a sudden choice. He revealed that Tank Davis and Jake Paul had been planning this for a long time, with talks happening quietly behind the scenes. The fight only became official after the Lamont Roach rematch faded, but the idea had been around for years. For Jake Paul, this fight is part of his ongoing goal to prove he's more than just a YouTube star. Facing Davis gives him the credibility he's sought since he started boxing. For Davis, even though he's giving up size, the fight is a chance to show that skill and experience can beat raw power. This makes the matchup more than just a crossover event. It's a smart move meant to shape both their careers in important ways.
This was always the plan. Tank Davis told you at the press conference, the post-press conference of Lamont. Honestly, here's just a video of all of this being in the works for a while now.
He's gonna call? All right. Yeah, that's how I usually do. And backflip, knockout, backflip, call someone out.
No, I don't never call nobody out.
Ooh. So it'll be a first time. So more reason to tune in on March 1st.
Yeah, but I just told you that in the air. You said
Do you want that rematch next? And if so, how likely it is that we're to see that fight happen again this year? Is that the one you want next?
it's definitely the one I want next, but it's not gonna be next.
Oh, well, what is?
You might see it in a minute.
With you and Tank actually being a thing, was that something that was talked about?
Yeah, no, it was highly talked about and in negotiations and almost ready to make happen, but he has to do his rematch with Lamont and get that W, and then we'll be able to run it back. But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
So, this was always a thing, and which kind of explains why they robbed Lamont Roach. Lamont Roach won that fight, bro. They robbed him of the knockdown. He won that fight. You count the knockdown. Let's just say it's a draw. You count the knockdown, Lamont Roach wins officially. All right, they robbed him of the knockdown. And which makes sense, okay? Because this is going to be one hell of a bag. And I want to make this understood. This isn't one hell of a bag because Jake Paul is a hell of a bag type of guy. They both are. it's the matchup. All right, I've seen Jake Paul have fights that didn't do so well, like Mike Perry, it did okay.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more. See you next time.